Okay, so hello everyone, welcome again to Write Dynamic, and this is Saud, and in this lecture we'll be simply learning more about PHP. We will learn about data types, available data types in PHP today. So let's get started with it. I'll open my Sublime text here, and this is the code from previous lecture. If you have been following me, you would be aware that what is it and what did we do in the last lecture. So yeah, before starting this lecture, let me tell you about a function known as getType. Okay, so it's a function that returns the type of the variable you pass in it. Okay, so if you want to know the type of a variable you are passing in it, you are using in your application, you can use the getType function. So let's just say get type and passed my variable here. Since we assigned a string in the my variable, in our variable my variable, the get type will return string type. Okay, and after that we assigned it with an integer variable, so again we will use get type here, and technically it should return the integer now. Okay, so we should see string and then integer. Okay, so let's just say go to your localhost slash whatever your directory is. In my case I don't need to. Here you can see the first value in our my variable was string. Okay, this name was a string, and then the second value was an integer. So here you can see the data type of our variable is being deduced from the value, from the type of value we are storing in it. So that's it. So let's get started with the available data type in PHP. So as you have seen, the first one is integer and the next one is string. Okay, and another one is float and boolean. Boolean is simply true or false, and null, you can use null too. That's it. Okay, so these are some basic data types you get with PHP. There are some couple of other data types too, but these are the data types you will be working most of the time. And yes, object. Again, object. What is an object? We will be learning about it since once we start the object-oriented PHP lessons, but for today this should do the job. So as I said, an integer is simply a number. A string is anything that comes between a single or a double quotes. A float is simply a decimal number. A boolean is a value true or false, and null is simply when it doesn't have any value. Okay, when it doesn't have any value. When you don't assign a value in a variable, it is null. Okay, so let's get started. First, let's make a variable, name is number, and assign it with 45. Okay, so as I say, to get the type of the variable you want, we'll simply type get type in the name of the variable number. That's it. Once we come here and refresh it, you can see it's an integer. But if I enclosed it within single quotes, double quotes, now if I refresh it, you can see it changed to string. How? As I said, anything between single or double quotes is a string in PHP. Okay, there are some exceptions, like when you use the variable names in double quotes. Okay, so there are some catches in that. There are some exceptions in that. We will be learning about it later in the series. So as you can see, it becomes a string now, and when I remove it, the double single quotes, it becomes an integer now. And now 4.0 F5. Yeah, you can see double and floats, they are actually one and the same thing. The only difference between double and float is double is more precise, whereas float is not that precise. Okay, so if you are from C++ background, sorry, so if you are from, okay, just a minute. Okay, so if you know languages like C or C++, you might have learned about double and float too. Okay, so as you can see here, it's giving us double now, and if I initialize it with nothing, F5, yeah, you can see it's null. It means it doesn't have any data type, it doesn't have any value. So that's it. It was a short and sweet lesson, and you can check for, of course, yeah, I forgot one thing. I forgot bool. So if I assign it true, F5, yeah, you can see the boolean type. And again, if I assigned it false, it's again boolean type. So as you can see it here, and you have a couple of functions to check if a number is integer. The function name is integer. It will simply return a boolean value. If the number holds an integer value, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Okay, one, as of course, if you are from C or C++ background, you know that 1 stands for true and 0 stands for false. So since our number, our variable holds an integer value, this returned us true, and if we converted it into string, this would return us nothing. That means it is not an integer value anymore. Okay, you can reference it, you can just learn about it more on the documentations. Here you can see it. Okay, so you can use isInt function too, or simply isInteger. Yeah, you can see everything, you can learn about it. That's not a big deal, you just have to get used to it. And again, if you want to check for string, you could use the string function. isString, it will return 1 if it is a string, and it will return nothing if it's not a string. And simply is for bool, it's the same for bool. If it's a boolean value, let's say if it's true, F5, it returns it. If it's a string, it returns nothing. That's it. So that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Sorry. Okay, please give it a thumbs up, and to keep learning PHP, you can just subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in my next video.